themselves entangled in attacks between Israel and Iran, with the city of Isfahan apparently coming under Israeli fire in recent weeks, despite it being surrounded by sensitive nuclear sites. Grossi is likely to attend an Iranian nuclear conference there while on his two-day trip to Iran. Problems will not disappear, Grossi told an International Atomic Energy Agency Board of Governors meeting in March. They will only get worse, so we need to address this in a serious way. Iranian media said Grossi would meet with Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian on Monday afternoon after this arrival to Tehran. Grossi will travel to Isfahan on Tuesday before heading back to Vienna, where he plans to give an update to journalists there. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday rejected international pressure to halt the war in Gaza in a fiery speech marking the country's annual Holocaust Memorial Day, declaring if Israel is forced to stand alone, Israel will stand alone. The message, delivered in a setting that typically avoids politics, was aimed at the growing chorus of world leaders who have criticized the heavy toll caused by Israel's military offensive against Hamas militants and have urged the sides to agree to a ceasefire. Netanyahu has said he is open to a deal that would pause nearly 7 months of fighting and bring home hostages held by Hamas, but he also says he remains committed to an invasion of the southern Gaza city of Rafah, despite widespread international opposition because of the more than 1 million civilians hurdled there. I say to the leaders of the world, no amount of pressure, no decision by any international forum will stop Israel from defending itself, he said, speaking in English. Never again is now Yom HaShoah, the day Israel observes as a memorial for the 6 million Jews killed by Nazi Germany and its allies in the Holocaust, is one of the most solemn dates on the country's calendar. At the ceremony generally avoid politics, though Netanyahu in recent years has used the occasion to lash out at Israel's enemy, Iran. An Israeli airstrike Sunday in the town of Maiz al-Jabal in South Lebanon killed 4 civilians and wounded several others, Lebanese state media and the town's municipality reported. Lebanon's state-run news agency reported that the strike took place while a number of the town's residents were inspecting their homes and shops and the damage they sustained in previous strikes. Those attacks came over 7 months of near-daily clashes between the Hezbollah militant group and Israeli forces against the backdrop of Israel's war against Hezbollah ally Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli military said its jet targeted military infrastructure in the southern Lebanese town belonging to Hezbollah, which has clashed with Israeli troops since October 8. Hezbollah on Sunday said it conducted at least 10 attacks targeting Israeli military positions and surveillance gear near the tense Lebanon-Israel border, while the Israeli military said it identified some 40 missiles that crossed into Israeli territory but did not cause any casualties. Hezbollah and Israel fought a months-long war in 2006 that ended in a tense stalemate. Israel considers the Iran-backed Shiite militant group its most serious immediate threat, estimating that Hezbollah has around 150,000 rockets and missiles aimed at Israel. Western diplomats have made a series of so far unsuccessful attempts to broker a de-escalation in the border region. Hezbollah has maintained that it would stop launching rockets towards northern Israel when there is a ceasefire to end the months-long war in Gaza. Israel has warned that it could launch a war against Hezbollah across its northern border should the fighting continue. The Israeli military also reported it targeted what it said was Hezbollah's military infrastructure in other parts of southern Lebanon. Israeli strikes have killed more than 350 people in Lebanon, most of them fighters with Hezbollah and allied groups, but also including more than 50 civilians. In Israel, strikes from Lebanon have killed at least 10 civilians and 12 soldiers. U.S. and Philippine armed forces fired missiles and artillery to thwart a simulated invasion of the Philippines' northern waters facing Taiwan on Monday in a show of military force and strengthening ties as regional tensions rise. About 200 soldiers took turns defending the shores of the coastal city of Laog in Ilocos province launching javelin missiles and firing howitzers and machine guns to repel an unnamed enemy trying to storm the beach. U.S. and Filipino military personnel sank 5 floating pontoons standing in for amphibious landing ships as part of their annual exercises called Balikatan, or shoulder to shoulder. The annual drills, which involve about 16,000 Filipino and American troops and began last month, will run until May 10th. They come at a time of escalating tensions between the Philippines and China in the South China Sea. Last week, the Philippines accused China of using water cannons against their vessels around the disputed Scarborough Shoal, which damaged naval vessels and injured people on board. On Monday, Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said his country would not retaliate in kind, saying the Philippines did not want to raise tensions. The exercise have irked China, which has warned of destabilization when countries outside the region flex muscles and stoke confrontation. Several of the drills this year were set in islands and provinces facing Taiwan and the South China Sea. Laong City is about 408 kilometers from Taiwan's southernmost point. Domestic travelers spent 166.9 billion yuan during one of China's longest breaks, the May Day holiday, a rise of 13.5% from pre-pandemic levels, government data showed on Monday, but expenditure per head lagged 2019 rates. Boosting consumer confidence has presented a key challenge for Chinese authorities this year amid a declining property market, high youth unemployment, and deflation pressures. The total spent over the May festive fifth holiday was 12.7% higher than last year, shortly after China lifted COVID-19 curbs, and the Tourism Ministry recorded 295 million domestic trips during the holiday. Data from the box office tracker Maoyan show assistance, but must invest in building its own strength first and show the world its support for the island is worth it. Vice President-elect Sayo Kim said on Monday. Sayo, who takes office with President-elect Lai Ching-te on May 20th, is China's former de facto ambassador to Washington and is expected to play a key role in further strengthening ties with the United States, given her fluent English and deep ties in the U.S. capital. The United States is Chinese claimed Taiwan's most important supporter and arms supplier despite the lack of diplomatic ties. Speaking to a think tank forum, Sayo expressed appreciation for U.S. President Joe Biden last month, signing into law legislation to boost Taiwan's defenses, part of a broader package of assistance for Ukraine and Israel. This bill demonstrates the U.S. continuing commitment to supporting allies and partners in the face of geopolitical challenges, she said. But beyond thanking our international friends for their support, it is important that as Taiwanese, we invest in building our own strengths first, she said. Through our own efforts in building a resilient Taiwan, we must have the confidence that Taiwan is worthy of galvanizing international support. China has ramped up its military pressure against Taiwan over the past 4 years. Taiwan's government rejects Beijing's sovereignty claims. Sayo and Lai, who have pledged to continue President Tsai Ing-wen's defense, self-sufficiency and modernization program, take power just months before the U.S. presidential election in November. Former President Donald Trump, whose administration strongly supported Taiwan and is the presumptive Republican candidate this time around, has said U.S. allies, like European members of NATO, have to spend more on defense and not just rely on the United States. The Commission said it was investigating a hospital in the southwest megacity of Chongqing for its alleged involvement in surrogacy, which is illegal in China, after wide circulation of the issue on social media. The incident comes after a series of official investigations last year related to the issuance of fake birth certificates at a time when China is trying to boost its birth rate. Chongqing Angel Obstetrics and Gynecology Hospital Surrogate Institute in Wuhan in November after they were accused of surrogacy and issuing fake paternity results. Birth certificates are required in China for obtaining household registration and are necessary for vaccinations, medical insurance enrollment, and application for a social security card. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said on Monday the Philippines would not use water cannons or any offensive weapons in the South China Sea, and the last thing it wanted was to raise tensions in the strategic waterway. The Chinese Coast Guard and Chinese vessels down that road, Marcos told reporters, adding that the mission of the Philippine Navy and Coast Guard was to lower tensions, and there are no plans to install water cannons on vessels. China's embassy in Manila did not respond immediately to a request for comment. The Philippines and China have had several confrontations at disputed atolls in the South China Sea, most notably at the second Thomas Shoal. Last week, Manila protested Beijing's use of water cannons against Filipino vessels at the submerged reef, describing it as harassment and dangerous maneuvers after a rise in tensions in recent months. The Philippines has said such moves were aimed at disrupting supply missions to Filipino soldiers stationed in a naval ship there, which Manila deliberately grounded in 1999 to bolster its maritime claims. If the Philippines truly wants to de-escalate South China Sea, it should immediately stop sending ships and stop sending supplies to illegally grounded ships, a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry said at a regular press briefing on Monday. China claims sovereignty over much of the South China Sea, a conduit for more than $3 trillion of annual ship-borne commerce, including parts claimed by the Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. An international tribunal in 2016 said China's expansive claim had no legal basis, a decision Beijing has rejected. Chinese provinces are urging companies to offer women flexible job roles called Mama's Post that make it easier to balance work and childcare, the officials in one said on Monday. Authorities are trying to encourage more women to have children after China's population fell for a second consecutive year in 2023 and births touched a record low. Mama's Post is a position specially created for mothers. The working hours are relatively flexible, making it easier to balance work and childcare, the agency said. Many mothers stay out of the job market for more than 3 years until their children are old enough to enter daycare and require flexible working hours on returning to the workforce, the report said. While many employers explore the mother's post model, available job options are often limited, with most involving short or temporary contracts, making it tough to protect women's legitimate rights and interests, it said. Many positions still involve labor-intensive tasks in manufacturing and processing, targeting more unskilled workers, such as some on offer in the city of Qingdao in the eastern province of Shandong. But in Uyghur southern Guangdong, authorities are looking to promote the new model across all the cities of the province in professional, technical, and management positions, the agency said. Many women in China chose to stay childless due to the high cost of childcare, unwillingness to marry, or put careers on hold in a traditional society that still sees them as the main caregivers and where gender discrimination is rife. Longer maternity leave, financial and tax benefits for having children, and housing subsidies are among the incentives to boost the birth rate that authorities have rolled out. You are watching the international news on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. Get ready as Morrison Communications Limited proudly presents Children's Day Celebration 2024.
Arts. La Small Hotel and Resorts, number 9, Room Calagbo off Waterlines, Basta, Port Harcourt.
On Saturday, May 25th, starting at 8 a.m., inter-school march past competition,
Dance competition, drama competition. Parents, teachers and children alike, don't miss out on the fun with Uncle Clown bouncing castle as we cut the cheap 2,000 naira opportunities. Call us now 0806 673 8689 and 0810 634 1777.
This event is proudly sponsored by the La Small Hotel and Resort with Atlantic Television Network and 99.5 Wish FM Port Harcourt, Lesuka Event Center, Gate Place Hotel, 8 Ball Hotel and Lounge, Oma Studio, Osgia Table Water.
remember that every child is unique. See you there. This event is managed by Pace Expressions Arts.
Special guest appearance.
Every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders.
I have fought a very firmly